So we showed off Lena, the star of the Slayers collab, so we can't forget her banner mate, Zelgadis, a character that was easily forgotten, not because he's bad by all means, it's just that Lena is the strongest magic attacker that we have. But enough about her, this video is about Zelgadis, so let's go see what his best builds are and what he can do. So his talent, his damage and defense increases with his HP. After taking action, he can cast Flow Break on the chosen ally that dispels up to 3 debuffs from the target, restoring 10% of their HP for each debuff dispelled. When using the skill, he can apply one random buff and grants them immunity to stun, buff block, and mobility down for 2 turns. And this thing does have a 2-turn cooldown. Because of this talent, he becomes a support DPS, like a minor one. He offers good immunities with healing on top of that, being able to dispel a good amount of debuffs while also being quite physically tanky. Starting at 5-star, he can use it every 1 turn, but it's fine even if you don't take him there, since those buffs last just as long and has an act again skill. It just makes him more effective if you do it. With his classes, his infantry is the strongest with better stats. However, you can only attack within 1 block, but that doesn't really matter with the skill. Weapon choices are very limited but can equip better armor. His mage class has an initial 2 block range, which really isn't that important, but he'll have more better weapon options and is much better in PvP since he'll have no class weakness. For the class mastery stone for the armor headwear, you want HP, int, and defense. Then on the weapon, you want HP, int, and skill. You can do defense for the bulk instead of skill. Same thing with the accessory. You can do defense instead of skill if you want to make him tanky. Then with the arena stones, this is what a defensive set would look like. Starting with Lena, we can really start seeing that avoiding being critted is hardly even possible anymore. So it's best to just put crit damage reduction in exchange for something like magic defense instead of less chance of being crit. But I would still recommend putting less crit chance on your healers and tanks. His best soldiers are going to be the Werewolf and the Sansi Mercenary. They're going to be his best physical soldiers with good self-sustainability, like recovering HP. Sorcerers are going to be his best magic attacker. Dark Alchemists, I would say that they aren't that bad, but they do have the same problem with the Sorceress. Only difference is that they are able to heal their HP by a fixed margin. Firebrand Sniper to deal with like flyers. The Guardian Infantry are going to be his best physical defense soldiers. You can use the Stone Colossus if you gotta deal with like cavalry enemies like Leon. Now for the best weapon that you want on him. In his infantry, you want Gift of Eternal Life. If not for that one, then Queen's Scepter. Just watch that HP threshold. In his mage class, since Zelgadis is going to be pretty slow and has tanky potential, you want Red Moon for the HP to make him bulky. And just to lay down all the possibilities, Scepter is cool if you really think that the extra range is going to be like really helpful. It's your choice, whatever you want on him. I'm just giving you guys all the options. With the armor, in his infantry class, you want Forbidden Battle Armor, Timer to take in less magic damage, but that means you can't use Sansi Mercenary, otherwise you won't get the magic damage reduction. Then it'll be something like Aeolus or Bloodline. In his mage class, it'll be Tenuos or Nebulous Robe. For the helmet, in infantry class, you can do Tyr for more damage or Aeneas for more defensive stats. In his mage class, there's quite a lot of options that you can go with. Since Zelgadis is going to be someone that you want to play pretty slow with, Tenuos is really good, Electric is not bad, even Glowy as well. But if you are going to be using Glowy, just don't use mage soldiers if you want that extra healing. You can even go with something like the earmuffs so you can help lower a teammate's damage, or the new helmet, Star Crown. What this thing does is that if your HP is not lower than 80% and are healed, then you get a skill damage increase and normal damage increase. But I know most of you guys will have only one of these from the battle pass, so I would recommend putting this on a hard hitter like Lena. With his accessory, you can do Swordsmith for the bulk, plus it does give good immunities, like unable to be silenced. Just don't expect to really kill stuff. You're just making sure that he survives doing his thing. Some other options that you can put on are Dimensional Jewel, Holy Wing so that he can use his talent without worrying of being silenced, or Star Earring. Then for his enchants, you can go with Full Moon for flexible stats, or Breeze. Alright, so hopefully you guys now have a good idea on how to build your Zelgadis. So let's now begin the first awakening stage if you are struggling with it. Alright, so for this stage, you're going to be up against Polly, Gory, and then Lena. So these are going to be the stuff that I'm going to be rocking with. You're going to really want this 1C skill, just mainly for the Again. Then the other 2 can be single targets. However, for one of them, you can use Earthquake because it will lower their attack and int if you really need to survive. You can even use Searing Void, but the positioning can be weird for some of the characters you're going to be up against. However, you are going to be doing a lot more damage with it. So I would say go with at the Gen, Elamiki or Flame because it does also give attack and int reduction, do another single target, or Earthquake if you still really need that debuff. Don't go with Mass Protect because you don't get any buffs from it. Then with the soldiers, Sensi Mercenaries are going to be really amazing. Polly and Gory have Lancer Soldiers, so you're going to be doing a lot more damage against them. You can do Werewolf, but I would say just use the Sensi Mercenary because they do give themselves more magic defense. And that magic defense may really help you to go against Lina. Firebrand Sniper can be okay if you don't have the Sensi Mercenary upgraded. So in order to deal with Polly, it is very understandable if you can't one-shot the first opponent. More than likely they're going to survive it, and since you are able to make the attack first, go ahead and attack. Use the one that reduces their attack and int, just in case if you really need that debuff. It's really easy if you have the Sensi Mercenary because it does self-heal. Werewolf, you're just going to take too much damage from Polly since she's holy. Even then, Polly only has AoEs. If you really have to, just rely on the defensive terrain on the left or right. If you can't one-shot her on the first turn, more than likely you're going to kill her on the second turn. Same situation with Gory, but this time you have a buff from killing Polly. So you are able to kill him, and that's then. But, after killing Gory, you have to deal with Lina, and she has incredible range. Very worthy of being your last opponent. She is going to be very tough. She has an AoE and a mass attack. So here's what you do. Turn stall. What you do is turn stall. Get as far as you can, and when you think you're far away enough, you can kill Gory. And the reason why we do that is so that you stay out of Lina's range. What makes it even worse about Lina is that her transformation effect gives her 100% crit increase and more mobility. And you may have to mess around with RNG though, because even with Lina just ending her turn, she can get her transformation effect. So you're really gonna have to wanna like mess around with it. Like maybe when you go in for the attack, just be hopeful that you get the 50-50 and have her use mass attack. And then you can kill her afterwards. Otherwise, Lina is going to keep on chasing you forever, and then eventually she'll reach you. So at this point right here, I'm at a dead end. Lina is going to reach me no matter what. Even though Lina is incredibly strong, she's very easily killable. She has the same issue with Valencia where they're both a glass cannon. Both very strong at what they do, but are easily very killable. So yeah, if you really aren't able to deal with Lina, maybe mess around with the RNG for a bit, see if you can get really lucky. Alright, so it's Thxs, a 4-turn cooldown that can reach 3 blocks long. The passive has the damage taken reduced by 10% when fighting enemies with lower int than him, but is rather 20% if he has no debuffs. It's a single target that does more damage to demons. When equipped with soldiers, the soldiers can attack too. Before battle, if he has no debuffs, he dispels 5 buffs from the enemy and restores all of his HP. If his int is 3 times higher than the enemy, then he attacks directly to the enemy hero, with no melee damage reduction. So yeah, you really want that for the damage reduction. Everything else is even a bigger bonus too. Having a 3 block range on this is pretty good. So yeah, this thing I would say is really good. Alright, so if you guys want to see what this 3C animation looks like, here it is. Alright, so for those of you new around here, I don't ever show off the second awakening stage like ever unless they're really like difficult to deal with. And that happens ever rarely because most of these, they're really easy to deal with even if your character is not as built. You do get 3 other characters that you can use and they're always enough to carry you. You're able to make the right decisions where the AIs would not. Alright, so with that being said, let's go ahead and get right onto his showcase. Alright, so in order to understand Zelgadis, his damage and defense increases with his HP, like his HP percentage, up to a certain amount. After taking action, he can use Flow Break on the chosen ally, which then dispels 3 debuffs from the target, restoring 10% of their HP for each debuff dispelled. When using this, he can apply 1 random buff, grant immunity to stun, buff block, and mobility down for 2 turns, which then has a cooldown before you can use it again. So the damage and defense increase are self-explanatory, so we're really just going to take a look at the talent skill. So by ending his turn, this is what you will see. You get 1 option, and when you take a look at the skill, it tells you pretty much what it says on his talent. So I'm just going to look around. Rosalia has 2 debuffs, Angelina as well, and Sophia only has 1. So I'm going to use it on Sophia, and automatically right there, it dispels it, and it healed like 1000 HP. So that was 10% right there. If you take a look at the buff, you can see right there that she got a buff and those immunities. And so then I'm going to use it on Angelina. It healed 2000 HP. You can see right here that it ran a buff and those immunities again. And I think I'm going to mess around with a little bit of RNG right here because I know that you can get a powerful buff. Okay, so I didn't get it right there. But another thing is that you can even use it even if you don't have any debuffs. You're not going to get any healing from it, but if you do, you're just really going to get it for the immunities. Oh, and right there, that's what I was talking about. You are able to get a powerful buff, like what you just saw with Zelgadis getting a 2-turn mobility increase. And he still got the immunities, and there's the cooldown. So he has 3 unique skills that are pretty easy to understand. His 1C is an active skill. Attack and int increases when using it and gets a buff where he's not affected by melee damage reduction for 2 turns. He can move 2 blocks and attack, and buffs on him do not lose their turn duration. The only thing that really sucks is that it has a 4 turn cooldown. So let's go see what happens if we activate it. Let's see what it looks like. Okay, there we go. And if we check what he has, attack and increase and a unique buff where he's not affected by melee damage reduction. Why he even has that? It's weird. I don't know why. One of the most random things that you can get. One of his unique skill just pretty much just silences passive skills before battle for 1 turn. Melee soldiers can attack with them and is not affected by melee damage reduction. So I actually want to see what this looks like. Like, this skill is like nothing special. Just disabling passive skill, that's really it. Like, there are other skills that does that too. His other one is actually much more better. Lowers attack and int by 20% before battle for 2 turns, which then cannot be dispelled. Soldiers can attack with, and when using the skill, if he has no debuffs, the skill cooldown is reduced by 2 with no melee damage reduction. See that? Much would prefer this one over the other. And pay attention very closely. It's like one of those like minor details, but there are other characters who have cooldowns like that, but does it after battle. With Zelgadis, he does it before battle. You see that clock animation? It tells you the skill got cooled down. So if you go ahead and check Zelgadis right now, rather than it being a 3 turn cooldown, it is now a 1 turn cooldown. But yeah, like the debuff, like I didn't really show it because it's like standard stuff. So may as well just show you guys what the skills look like. Cause you see those debuffs all the time. Nothing new that we're really seeing. However, if we move along, we're actually gonna take this to a different stage. And there is a reason for that. But first, we take a look at this 3C, 4 turn cooldown that can reach 3 blocks long. The passive on it is really good. Damage taken is decreased by 10% when fighting an enemy with lower int. This effect is doubled if the caster has no debuffs. It's a single target that does more damage to demons, soldiers can attack with. Before battle, if he has no debuffs, he dispels 5 buffs from the enemy and restores 100% of his HP. If his int is 3 times higher than the enemy, then he attacks directly to the hero, the enemy hero, with no melee damage reduction. Now, I have this set up for a reason. His soldier, completely intentional. Angelina here, well, because it's Angelina, but mainly for the attack intimidation. Uzali here is for his sword. Sophia here is because of her rewind, and Sonya is just completely random. I just chose her for no reason. So right now he has 1372, Aniki has 587. You may think that's plenty enough, but I just gotta make sure. So attack intimidation was Uzalia's sword. Gonna put this down. And then afterwards, I'm gonna have Zelgadis use his At Again skill for the buffs to increase his int. And then we are able to attack from a safe distance. But if we check Aniki's stats right now, 513. And what does Zelgadis have? He has 1667. And this component here was also intentional because it gives a lot more int. Pretty much the opposite version of what Tyr is. So just to check again with you guys, he's able to dispel 5 buffs before battle. So we check Zelgadis right now, he has no debuffs, so that means he does the dispelling and heals 100% of the HP. And this int should be good enough to where he can deal directly to the enemy hero. I'm gonna turn on battle animation on, and I want you guys to watch this carefully. Did you guys see that? You guys saw that, right? Check out Aniki right there. You can see that the soldier took some damage and Aniki the same thing. And if you guys were paying attention, the soldier, Zelgadis soldiers, were the one attacking the Aniki soldier. And Zelgadis himself was the only one attacking directly to the enemy hero, which I really hate. I don't know why they did that when they have someone like Omega. Not only was he able to attack directly to the enemy hero, but his soldiers can too. So I don't know why they couldn't do it with Zelgadis. Like, did they think that his range was good? It can't be, because when you take a look at Omega, his options are so much more better, with the same range as well. Like, I get it, like dispelling up to 5 buffs while also healing to his max, but you can still give it to him. Like, Zelgadis is gonna be someone that's gonna have a hard time like trying to do anything, like trying to attack anything at all. And not to mention too that you really gotta take care of that guy if you want his full benefits. So yeah, Zelgadis, you gotta really put some really high investment towards his int in order for him to actually like kill anything. Because at that point, Zelgadis is really only relying on himself and not really his soldier for attacking with his 3C. Such a shame too, cause I know there are other characters like Omega that has their soldier attack directly to the hero. It's just that they made Zelgadis really weird with it. But it's still a very good skill nonetheless. So overall, Zelgadis is an alright character to use. He really wants to be an attacker so bad, but we have so many other characters that does it so much more better. He is considered to be a minor support DPS thanks to his talent, but we got characters like Mariendo, who is by far the best in the game at that role. There is no one else that does it so much more better than she does. His skill set are mediocre, with the exception of his 3C, which is what you really want, especially for the passive, which then you'll need a high investment towards his int. Like on any normal enemy, you can do just fine. I know with the showcase, I did it on an enemy with a higher HP, but you can see the difference to how he does it compared to the other characters that does the same thing. His mobility is pretty terrible, even with an act again, so Breeze will really help him. Despite all of that, he can still be usable at least. You would just find it hard to really get anything out of him. He is capable of doing good damage with good survivability on the physical side, while providing small support. But if he had like more range, then perhaps he would be even more of a solid character, even with mediocre skill choices. Sadly though, he just can't compete with most of the magic attackers that we already have, as they have more offensive power, even some with better support. There you guys have it. That was Zelgadis Showcase. Zelgadis is an easy skip since you have better magic attackers like Lina, which is his banner mate. He is usable regardless of being such an underpowered character if we do end up building him. Remember that we do got more important characters down the line. I say that you should get Lina and stop right there if you plan on summoning on this collab. Lina is one of the strongest magic attackers that we have, so it'll be a missed opportunity if we don't. But it's your choice to do whatever you want. I'm only saying this now cause crossovers usually doesn't come back, so just be mindful of that. But that's all I got for you guys. If you guys did enjoy this video, feel free to leave a like and subscribe if you want to see more, and feel free to let me know down in the comments how you guys feel about Zelgadis and if there was anything that I may have missed. So yeah, thanks for watching. Your fellow Z.